Well, a great grand hello to all my Vincent tourists out there. Now, I know most of you follow me for my work in cinema. And what does great cinema start with but a great screenplay? And I've always thought that the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears would make a great way to explain the three-act structure or the template of the great American screenplay. So, if you don't mind, I would like to embark on an explanation of the three-act structure of every great American screenplay as told by Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So, before I begin, I would like to ask you to wipe your mind of the Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Pretend that you've never heard it before. And bear with me. Now, if you don't mind, I am going to embark on Goldilocks and the Three Bears as a great American screenplay. Act 1, in which the world is built. The world-building act where you meet the characters and the general order of things in the film. Once upon a time, there were three bears who lived together in a house of their own in a wood. One of them was a little small wee bear, one was a middle-sized bear, and the other was a great huge bear. One day, after they had made a heaping helping of baked beans, busted out their case of whiskey and Elvis records for their breakfast, they walked out into the wood. And now we come to Act 2. Act 2 is where the complication enters the story, and you are going to figure out what that complication or who that complication is. And while the three bears were walking, a little girl came into the house. This little girl had golden curls that tumbled down her back to her waist, and everybody called her by Goldilocks. Goldilocks went inside. First, she helped herself to the baked beans of the great, huge bear, and those were far too hot for her, but she had them anyway. And then she polished off the case of whiskey the middle bear had brought for breakfast, and it was far too cold, but she finished that anyway. And then she walked drunkenly over to the collection of Elvis records belonging to the small wee bear and proceeded to play them until they were all scratched up. Now this, the middle of Act 2, is a very important point in every great American screenplay, and the point where you turn a good movie into a great movie. So again, pretend you've never heard this story before. Pretend you have no idea what's going to happen next. So, the midpoint of Act 2. By this time, the three bears thought their baked beans would be cool enough, so they came home to breakfast. Aha! They came back. See, that's how you write a screenplay. Of course, it should be obvious that they came back, but you weren't thinking of it at the time, were you? Because you never heard this story before. So they came home to breakfast. "Somebody's been at me baked beans," said the great huge bear and his great huge boys. "Somebody's been drinking me whiskey," said the middle bear in his middle voice. Then the little small wee bear looked at the records lying all over the floor. "Somebody listened to me Elvis records and scratched them all up," said the little small wee bear in his small wee voice. And that's when they heard a noise behind them. They all turned around at once, and there was Goldilocks, who shouted, "I'm all shook up." Now, we head into Act 3, wherein we have the denouement and the climax, in sort of in that order. Seeing just now she had upset three bears, the drunken Goldilocks then ran out the door and down the garden path. She ran and ran until she reached the house of her grandmama. When she told her grandmama about the house of the three bears who lived in the woods, her granny said, My, what a wild imagination you have, child." And now here's the M. Night Shyamalan twist ending. Little did Goldilocks know she hadn't even gone to her grandmama's house. This was Little Red Riding Hood's grandmama's house, but that wasn't Little Red Riding Hood's grandmama, if you know what I mean. And I think M. Night Shyamalan just ripped off the movie Hoodwinked. Well, that's how you write a great American screenplay. You're welcome.